Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booklights podcast. Happy 2025. If you're listening live, thank you so much for kicking off the new year with us. I'm so excited that you're here because we have a fantastic legal thriller author on today, Victor Methos. And once we read his bio here, you'll be able to get to know him. He has a brand new book out called The Silent Watcher. I know you are going to love it. Oh my gosh, it sounds fantastic. So can't wait. So without any delay, let me read his bio here so you can get to know him if you haven't read his books yet. At the age of 13, when his best friend was interrogated by the police for over 8 hours and confessed to a crime he didn't commit, Victor Methos knew he would one day become a lawyer. After graduating from law school at the University of Utah, Methos sharpened his teeth as a prosecutor for Salt Lake City. It's Monday, I can read. Before founding what would become the most successful criminal defense firm in Utah. In 10 years, Methos conducted more than 100 trials. One particular case stuck with him, and eventually it became the basis for his first major bestseller, The Neon Lawyer. Since that time, Methos has focused on his work on legal thrillers and mysteries, earning the Harper Lee Prize for The Hallows and an Edgar nomination for Best Novel for his title, A Gambler's Jury. He currently splits his time between Southern Utah and Las Vegas. And I put a link to his website right there on the podcast notes. So be sure that you click it. You can sign up for his newsletter. He has such a great backlist. So that's the other fun part, is if you're just discovering Victor today, there are a lot of books for you to read, binge reading all the way. And so be sure to check out his website so you don't miss the next new release. And without any further delay, are you there, Victor?
I am. Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. How about you? Happy New Year.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited about The Silent Watcher. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about it and why they should go grab it? First book of 2025?
I'm not scared of very many things. And so one thing I am actually there was one type of client I didn't take at my law firm. It was stalkers. And I defended murderers, I defended serial killers, drug dealers, but stalkers, we had to make a rule to stop taking them because it's just such a weird thing. Their mentality is so different. Because, like, if I'm defending a drug dealer, he's not coming to me and saying, like, how dare they arrest me for selling crack? Like, he knows it's wrong.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, go in there, get me the best deal you can. But a stalker's not like that. When you tell a stalker, like, hey, you can't break into someone's house and sit on their bed at 2 a.m. waiting for them to come home. And they'll be like, why? I love her. Why can't I do that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's really hard as their lawyer to defend him that way. But then I started noticing that they were the obsession started going from the victim onto me as their attorney. Like, I would start getting texts at 1 a.m, 2 a.m. They would start showing up at places I was eating at, to talk to me. And so we just had to kind of make that rule, and it's always scared me. And so I came across this documentary about this new type of stalking that's called frogging, where the stalker no longer feels that they can be separate from the victim, so they break into their home and they'll basically live there. There was one lady who was interviewed who she said she laid on her bed and she looked up at the ceiling and there was a hole and she saw an eyeball looking down at her from the hole. And so she called the police. Yeah, she called the police, and this guy had been living in her house for 2 weeks. Just watching her. She thought her house was haunted. She's like, I'd come home and, like, plates would be different places. My underwear would be in somewhere else that I left it. But it's like this phenomenon, and it just scared the crap out of me. Like, can you imagine anything scarier than finding out someone's been living in your house, right?
No,
Right.
I would never sleep again. Yikes.
Right. So my thing was, well, what if this person eventually wanted to just kill you? He wanted to live there for a while and then kill you. And so that's where the idea of the book came from, is that documentary.
Yikes. As a lawyer, do you watch news stories for book ideas? Does anything surprise you anymore?
No, I do research court cases, because I mean, the stuff people do is just insane.
Right.
Like, it is the best. Fiction doesn't even come close to the stuff people do in real life. So yeah, no, I go through a lot of court cases and try to find unusual unusual cases coming through the courts. There's some fascinating ones, especially out of California. I don't know what it is about California, but they, they have the weirdest crimes.
Well, I'm here in Florida, and my brother-in-law is actually a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And he had one recently that I was just I was so interested. He kept telling me, when the case is over, I'll tell you everything. But
Yeah.
but it was a woman who had a body in her trunk, and in Florida, real hot.
Yeah.
And so apparently there were like flies all over this BMW at the gas station. And the police were like, "Can we look in your trunk?" And she said, "Oh, okay." There was a
Wow.
body in there.
Wow. I'm guessing
But,
she knew the body was in there.
well, I mean, how could she have not known? But there were some drugs involved.
Yeah.
But
Okay. There would have to be. Yeah.
yeah, but that was the moment that I learned that they can only charge you with laws that are already on the books. They can't make a law for
Right.
what is going on. So it was such a bizarre thing, and the body had decomposed because hot. And so in the end, I think it was like molestation of a corpse or something like that. It
Right.
was the only thing they could charge them with, and he's trying to figure out what exactly does that word mean with this law, because it was real vague. And in the end, he did win and get her off the case, but it'll be interesting to see if they make a law about how you
Yeah.
have a dead body in your trunk. um
Yeah. That's crazy. I wonder if it's so normal to her, she just forgot it was in there. Like,
yeah,
oh.
well, I'm pretty sure maybe there were drugs involved, but the end result was that they think that both of them had gotten very high, and he either crawled in the trunk or fell in the trunk. And
Ah.
because they couldn't find, I mean, hard at that point to figure out what actually killed them, but they couldn't
Right.
find
Right.
any like wounds. So
Yeah.
maybe he thought that would be a great idea, but she didn't know he was in there. I have no
Yeah.
idea. It was so weird. I'm like, what is this? But
Only in Florida.
right, yeah. Florida man gets in a trunk and can't get out. I don't know, but it was very strange. So I'm always fascinated by lawyers who write books of are you doing court cases, are you watching the news, how are you getting these ideas?
Yeah. No, I read I can't watch like crime fiction TV. Like I can't watch like CSI or Law and Order. It feels too much like work, especially Law and Order. Law and Order is probably the most accurate out of all of them. And it's the most boring, I think.
Not like the Lincoln Lawyer or something.
Oh yeah, right, right.
Well, when you were writing this book, I don't know if you are a plotter or a pantser or somewhere in between, but did this book surprise you? Where, without any spoilers, was there, something that happened when you were writing and you're like, oh my gosh, did it surprise you as you wrote it?
Oh, all the time. I don't plot at all. I've learned a lot about myself, and I know one of the things is when I get bored, I won't do it. Whatever it is, if I find
Mhm.
it uninteresting, I won't do it. And when I already know all the characters and I know the ending and I know what's going to happen, I'll just stop writing the book. I won't find it interesting anymore. So I never plot.
Same. I can't do
I
it.
oh yeah, no, I have kind of a like idea of where it's going, but I can't think. I mean, for the past 10 years, I haven't known what the ending to any of my books are that I've written. It's way more fun for me for a journey. Like I learned to teach myself guitar and when I was 15, and I remember I saw an interview with the guitarist from Soundgarden, which was one of my favorite bands at the time, and they asked him, should teenagers or should kids that want to play guitar take guitar lessons? And he said no, because it goes from I want to I have to. He's like, you want it to be
Mm,
a journey. And so for me, writing a book is a journey, and it's much more fun that way. That granted, sometimes I write garbage that never comes out. I just like, yeah, nobody's gonna see this one. But
yeah. Well,
sometimes you get
occasionally
good
I
stuff.
look at my friends who plot, and I'm like, I'm so jealous that you know what you're
Yeah.
gonna write. Because some days you just look at that cursor. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah. Well, I read this. I never used to like abstract art, which is now my favorite field of art, because I was like, well, I don't know anything about it. Maybe I should know about it before I make a decision. So I read this book on abstract art, and in the very first chapter, it changed my mind. It said a lot of people might feel that abstract art is random and that a sixth grader can do it, but he's like, there is no such thing as random with the human mind. Whatever you try to express, it's your unconscious being expressed. So the more random Jackson Pollock tries to make one of his paintings, the more tells about him, right? And so the Hallows who won that award, there was a conversation. I went back, I was putting some books away or something, and I just kind of flipped through it. And it stopped on this conversation the protagonist has with his father. And I just kind of glanced at it. I was like, it was almost word for word an argument me and my dad had. You know what I mean? I mean,
Wow.
10 years later, after editing, after all that, I was like, whoa, wait a second. I know this. And so it's moments like that that make it, for me, writing a journey, a fun journey of exploring and figuring out myself. That's really why I do it, is to figure out myself. And so,
Right. Well,
I can't plot with that.
are there bits of you like in the lawyers? How are you represented, do you
Oh,
think, in your
absolutely.
books?
Stephen King said every character in a book is you.
Yes.
It's a different side of you. Yeah, no, totally true. I personally like villains more than heroes.
Hey, me too.
Oh yeah, no, I always rooted for the Indians. I never rooted for the Cowboys to win.
Right.
Yeah. But I
Well,
kind of think the reason is, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, Lisa. There's
nah,
a
it's
little bit of
okay.
a
Go for
delay.
it.
I was just thinking like villains are kind of made, you know what I mean? So they're much
Mhm.
more interesting to get into for me. And so the villains are definitely parts of myself. And I hope the heroes are too.
Right, right. Well, I love that usually the villain sees themselves as a hero, and so when you twist it all up to figure out how they're seeing the world, for me as a writer, that's always more interesting. And
Oh,
they like
right. Yeah.
drive the train, there wouldn't
Absolutely.
be a
Yeah.
book without them.
Absolutely.
um, so do you have a favorite scene in The Silent Watcher where you were like, dang, go me?
Um, yeah, but I can't reveal it because there's a
Oh,
spoiler. But
spoilers. You just have to read the book, guys.
yeah, there is one scene where it was something I saw at a bar a long time ago. It was this girl that was kind of there by herself, and these guys were staring at her and just kind of leering at her, and this one guy kind of took the time to go tell her and talk to her, and he gave her an I don't remember if it was a knife or mace or something. I included something like that in this book. I just thought it was the coolest thing. Like these guys were leering at this girl, like she was clearly kind of in danger, and this random guy just out of nowhere saw it and went and spent like 15 minutes with her and gave her, like, I think he gave her a knife. I think he gave her a knife and said, "Here."
Wow.
I just thought that was really cool. I mean, even if she'd never used a knife or anything, I just thought that was really cool of him to do. So I did include that. I like that moment.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I don't know, most of our listeners are readers, and I don't know if they often realize how much writers are constantly sponging things up. And then later, years later, it can show up in a book because you need something, especially if you're pantser like you and I, where you're like, I need something. And then all of a sudden, something comes back to you, and you're like, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes in
Yeah,
there.
you just have to expose yourself to a lot of different things. I read really broadly because of that. You never know. I read a book on Rome recently. I'm like, I have no idea when I'll ever use this, but maybe,
Yeah,
you never know. It might be
you
something.
never know.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I noticed that you also have a bunch of different series, but this one is the Vegas Shadows. This is a new series, I'm guessing. Do you know how
Yeah.
many books are going to be in it?
At least a trilogy. I like writing in trilogies.
Okay.
Some of it has to do just with the length, but some of it is numerology too, which I'm into. And
I love it.
three is a very powerful, simple number. I like incorporating three as much as I can. Typically, I've noticed I did have one series I wrote 13 books for. I don't think I can do any more than that, though. At that point, I've done kind of everything I can do with the character, and I'm just like, thinking of places to stick him. Like, oh, I wonder what happens if he goes to Siberia. Like it's
Right, right. Well, 13 is a really good number too. So that's a great spot to stop.
Yeah, it is. It is. In the West, we have a kind of a fear of that number, but in a lot of other cultures, it's considered lucky. Like the Chinese, if you go to China, a lot of skyscrapers don't have a fourth floor because for them it's four. For us, it's
Oh,
13.
funny.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
funny.
So
I
it's
didn't know
interesting how
that.
different culturally it is. Yeah.
There's different cultural numbers.
Yeah.
Well, since this one is set in Vegas, do you have any like Easter eggs for people who like the Neon Lawyer series? Because that one's in Vegas too, right?
No, that's in Utah. But Vegas is just, I always feel like cities, just like people, have energy.
Mm-hmm.
And Vegas is a really fascinating energy to me because there are a lot of people that go there that feel like, okay, I can drop my morality and
Right.
sleep with some prostitutes and then go back to my wife. So it's really fascinating. Like, who is the real person? Is he the person with his wife, or is the person in Vegas sleeping with prostitutes? So there's a lot of there psychologically, or like sometimes there was one night I was there and there was these they call them in Vegas, the term is degenerate gambler. It's a derogatory term which I don't like, but basically what it means is a gambler that doesn't care if they win or lose. They're not gambling anymore for money. And I'll talk to those guys sometimes and it is just, I mean, it is like scary and fascinating to hear people say, like, yeah, I lost my kid's college fund and I put my
Right.
car down and I lost my house. Like, so Vegas has that energy, but there's also this energy of people there who are trying to change it. There's like really good nonprofits and really good people helping addicts. And, there's an organization there getting prostitutes off the street. And so it's this weird mix. It kind of reminds me of Sodom and Gomorrah before the destruction of in the Old Testament. So it's just a fascinating city to sit crime fiction in, I think.
Yeah, and I can remember when I was younger and in the family business, I went on like my first sales trip to Vegas alone as an adult. And there was, it was the first time that I realized outside of the strip is kind of like a normal place. And it's so bizarre, the dichotomy of the strip where all of the lights and the stuff and
Yeah,
that whole mantra of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Because
yeah.
if you go away from the strip, it's a city. It could
It's
be
a normal
anywhere.
town. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they have
and
elementary
locals don't go to
school.
the strip.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, locals do not go to the strip. It's all tourists. But it's a
Yeah,
really
it's
interesting dynamic because the whole city's set up for tourism. And whenever you go to really tourist heavy spots, they really protect those areas. They really protect you don't see all the news stories coming out of Vegas.
they need the tourism because they're in the middle of the desert. Um,
Right.
but it is very bizarre, what they attract in, but it's all there's a ley line under there or something.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, they had one weird ley line and they went, this is where the script goes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there used to be an old strip. I don't know if you knew that. There used to be an old strip before the corporations took over. It was the organized crime. And
Right.
so totally different vibe. Like if you talk to some of the old timers, they're like, no, no, you knew the dealers, they were your friends, they knew what you drank, they knew what you liked to eat. It was a much more homey feel. And then when the corporations took over, they made it much more like Disneyland. So a lot of the hardcore gamblers kind of left and they went to kind of the seedier, smaller joints. They're not on the strip either, the big time gamblers.
Is that like the Golden Nugget and all that down?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
the
the
shadier. It's
old
more,
Vegas.
yeah, it's more lively, I think. You can meet a lot more interesting, colorful characters. I wouldn't take my family there, but you can meet you can meet a lot of interesting people. I like talking to people. I like, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I take a pizza down and just talk to some of the homeless people and things like that. I mean, that's kind of how you learn how to be a writer. Writing's just about learning what people are and to
And
learn
how
about
they
people.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you just got to talk to them. I think writers are really psychologists.
Kind of, yes. Very
Yeah.
creative, creative, able to tap into the super conscious kind of.
hmm Yep.
We're working out our therapy for life.
Oh yeah, no, there's this great TV show where the protagonist is a writer and his life is just a disaster and his wife's like, I need you to go to therapy. He's like, what? I'm not giving this shit away for free.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Why would I want to get fixed? And then I won't be
right,
able to write
exactly.
anymore. Well, that kind of dovetails into my next question is everybody's always really curious about your writing journey, and yours sounds very interesting because you were actually a prosecutor in a criminal defense. I mean, did one day an idea just pop up, or what did your
No,
writing
no,
journey
I've
look
been
like?
writing since I remember my first short story I ever wrote. I was in fifth grade and I was in a cave and I ran out of the cave. There was a Bigfoot and I had to choose whether to run or stay. And
Oh, it
I've
was a
just
choose your own adventure?
yeah, I love Choose Your Own Adventure. Oh my gosh, those were my
Weren't those
favorite
great?
books.
Those
Did
were
you
like
ever, did you
writing
always cheat too?
training.
Did you go and die and then like, well, I didn't really mean that. Let me go
Yeah,
back.
yes. You had to try them all. And then what I would do is write the one that I would have done.
Oh,
So,
nice. Yeah.
yeah. Because
Those were
after
such
I
great
tried them
books.
all out and figured out what was wrong with all of them, then
Yeah.
perfect ending.
It's so weird. My kid, like my 12-year-old son has an iPhone. He has the whole world at his fingertips, but there's little things like that that they just don't have that I'm so fond of. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope they have stuff like that when they look back on their childhood, that it's not just a flurry of social media. They actually have some stuff they're nostalgic for.
Well, I think they have fanfic. We didn't have that when I was a kid, but there is robust fanfic for movies, TV, books, for everything. So
Oh,
maybe that's
absolutely. I've written one.
maybe that's their choose your own adventure, they
Yeah,
just pick
exactly.
characters they love and make them have adventures. But a lot of people learn to, you learn characterization and stuff like that from mimicking.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, why did you become a lawyer first before you did your heart's true love?
I've kind of always felt like I always tell my kids when they ask me what to do, I always say, whatever it is, you have to love it. Because the only way you're going to be good at anything is to be obsessed. Because I tell them, like, if there's people that are like, oh, I kind of want to write a novel and see what, kind of test the waters. Okay, you have to compete against me. I wrote for 20 years for free. Nobody paid me a
Right,
dime.
right,
Okay. So you have to compete against someone who loves doing it and does it for free and thinks about it all day. You can't do that unless you're obsessed.
right.
So I was obsessed with writing. I knew I was going to be a writer, but I also knew I had to pay the bills. So uh, that experience, you actually said it in my bio, where my friend got arrested when I was in junior high school. That did really influence me because it really messed him up. He was a really good moral kid. The last one out of us that would do anything like that. And nobody believed him because he confessed, right? There's
Right.
He was 13 years old. Two male detectives put him in a room. And in Utah, you actually have to be 14 to not have your parents present. They
Yeah,
didn't.
where were his parents?
Yeah,
What? That's illegal.
they never called his mom. So they grilled him for 8 hours. And what he told me, this wasn't in the
Dang.
report, but what he told me is that at the very end, they just said, look, just tell us you did it and we'll let you go. And so he said, okay, I did it. And that's when they arrested him, right? So it
Dang.
really, I mean, he got like kind of suicidal because nobody believed him except me, because I know who really did it. I knew the guys who really robbed this place. And so it messed with me for a while. And then it just so happened that year, I don't know, even know how it happened, but I ended up reading To Kill a Mockingbird. And I didn't even know what a defense attorney
Uh,
was, but I read that and I'm like, that is it. That is
that's
what I'm
what I'm
devoting
gonna
my life
be.
to. Yeah. So I'm kind of a criminal defense attorney slash writer, I guess, because those two kind of merged to me. Because Atticus Finch, just like, I mean, it just, I almost never saw such a moral person in fiction before. And so
Right.
the, the law is such a beautiful expression of morality that way, because a lot of times in court, there most of the time it's gray, but sometimes it really is black or white. There really is a good
Mhm.
and a bad side. And so the law is a really good battleground for morality that way.
Do you still practice law or just write?
Nope. No, I
No,
just
just right.
I got to a point where I had to kind of choose.
Right.
And so I had to choose my obsession, my passion. It was writing.
Right.
There is one case I still have an open invitation for. My license is on pause right now, but I defended this Native American tribe here in Utah. I would defend them over and over again because they use hallucinogenics for their religious practices, and the police kept arresting them, and I kept
Mm-hmm.
getting their cases dismissed. And so what the police do now is they wait outside their reservation for them to drive off the res, and then as soon as they get off the reservation, they pull them over, search for drugs, whatever. So anyway, I told that tribe, I will defend you for free anytime they do that, because I want to take it to the Supreme Court. I want the Supreme Court to decide on this issue. So that's the one case
Oh,
I would step back into the courtroom for. But other than that, no, I'm done.
wow. Wow. So there's potential there in the wings that you could go from
Yes.
writing your books
I
to the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, the First Amendment is, I mean, it's almost sacred to me. There's a reason all those rights came first. Our founding fathers knew these are the most important rights, right? So speech, religion, assembly. So it really bugs me when the government messes with people's religion.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
'Cause it's so easy to go over the top
Yeah.
and establish an official government religion. It's not a big step to do that. Actually, it's kind of weird for me to still see people in Congress pray before
Right.
congressional. Yeah, I don't know if you know they do that, but they do. So it's just scary to me. Even and I'm not
And
obviously religion is important. I'm just saying it's scary for a government to sponsor one specific religion.
yes, like Oklahoma putting, now the Bible is going to be back in all their schools. And I'm just like, but what about the kids who, are Hindu or are Muslim or
Mm.
Jewish?
Yeah.
You're going to have the
Or
New
atheist.
Testament in there. Yeah, or atheist. Yeah, or spaghetti monster or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't even
Yeah,
mind that because the Bible is, I mean, there are parts of the Bible that are beautiful. The Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament is one of my favorite books. But the real issue for that, I think, is that they have to exclude certain things in order to teach that. Like an hour of Bible study doesn't come in just out of nowhere. So a
right,
lot of times they exclude evolution, you know, like
right,
really important stuff. Like, do you want a doctor that hasn't studied evolution or thinks evolution is fake? So
right.
that's the kind of one reason I don't like it. I like it better as extracurricular stuff, I think, after school. That's
Yes.
kind of how we did it in my high school.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I I write paranormal things, but I do love historical documentaries. And I mean, part of the whole reason that we even exist is because they didn't want the king's religion.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's one of the founding bedrocks of why we even exist.
exactly.
So, why are you taking us back?
Yes,
This is the whole
absolutely.
point of why we're here is to not
Absolutely.
have that.
Absolutely. The founding fathers of this country just blow my mind. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually a refugee, Lisa. So
Oh,
I came to this country as a visitor and I'm just blown away. My friends frequently tell me I'm the most patriotic person they know. And I think it's because you have to experience life outside of America and then come here to be like, oh my gosh, I am so blessed and so lucky to get to live here. And
right.
it's really because of the founding fathers. Like the more I study them, the more I'm like, I just can't believe they even existed. Like it's a miracle.
It is. It is. And then you watch these things and it's a miracle every time that we even exist.
Yeah.
Like, how did they even, we had the first guerrilla warfare of these little farmers with
Right,
tools.
right.
Yeah. I mean, just it's a miracle that we're even here. But it is one of the bedrocks for doing it was so that you can worship God the way you want to,
Exactly.
whatever God that is, not what the
Yeah.
king says.
Right.
So it's interesting though to see that the pendulum keeps swinging and we just
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like a lot of my friends, whether they're politically right or left, after this election, they were just, either ecstatic or devastated. I'm like, why? I've seen this show enough. Everybody
right.
goes one side and then they screw up and everybody
Then
hates
they go
them and then
back.
it goes back and then they
Yep.
screw up. So like I don't get politically invested at all. I just think like it's all the same. It all just keeps going back and forth. It's fine.
Hmm.
We get by. I try to
Yeah.
focus politics actually I've kind of found that who the president is really doesn't impact my life that much. It honestly doesn't. Who my city councilman is, that's a big deal. They really impact my life. So if you
Yes.
really want to change, I think being more local focused is far more effective.
Right. Right. Yeah. And school boards and all your
Hmm.
local things.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Well, what is next for you? Are you writing the next book of the Vegas Shadows or what's next on your plate?
It's in editing. I just finished it. I have a couple other pen names too that I write under. You mentioned you write paranormal. I'm obsessed with the paranormal.
Ah,
Yes,
you have a
yes.
pin name where you write horror and paranormal stories?
Well, Victor Methos, I write a lot of them, but I do have another one called Shigeru Brody that writes a lot of horror and paranormal. Um,
Ah,
I've just always been, it's just something I've been obsessed with since I was a child. And what I want to write next is I talked to this Afghan war veteran who was over there. He was stationed at a cemetery and he was there late at night one day. And this is what he said, not me. He said he was literally attacked by a demon. He's like, I saw it. It was in the
wow.
grave. He called his captain. Like everything worked out. And then he ended up getting injured. He's like, I woke up in the hospital and the demon was sitting on my chest. He's like, and then some time passed, and he says, the other night I woke up in my house and it was there. He's like, it's followed me back here to the United States. And he's told me some more details about it. But the thing that struck me is I fully believed him. Like, I know this guy. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So I think that would be really fascinating to write a book that you're off somewhere traveling and then you come back and it's there with you. It's followed you, attached itself to you. So I think I might do something with that.
That's like your paranormal stalker.
Yeah, exactly. See, everything. It terrifies me. It's just so scary. Like,
It always goes back to stalking.
I know, just someone follow. Well, have you ever? I asked my daughter the other day. Actually, I said, sometimes I'll stare at someone and they'll just start kind of glancing around. Have you ever done that? It's kind of a
Yes.
weird sixth sense we have. So
Mhm.
that's what it is about stalking. There's like some weird, almost supernatural thing to it that's just scary. Someone's following you around and you don't know what they're thinking and they're just like craving you like a predator. It's just so scary.
Well, if you think about, I'm going to get a little bit woo woo, but if you think about everything in the world, being energy,
Hmm.
the idea that somebody could energetically, attach, like plugging in an extension cord,
Yeah.
if they're focused on you, that is going to do something to your energetic field. It just is,
Yeah.
my daughter was a figure skater, competitive figure skater, so we spent hours at the ice rink, and she used to call it my mom look, but I could sit at the back of the stands, and if she's screwing around out there when she's supposed to be practicing, because that's the whole reason we came, she could like feel it in the back of her neck,
Yeah.
and she would turn
Yeah.
around and look at me and go, oh, and start doing her thing.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I've seen it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if everything is energy, like all the little scientists, are saying, if everything's energy, then it would totally make sense that if somebody's pushing their energy into your energy, you would feel it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's true. Yeah. It's a fascinating field. I love paranormal stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll have to look those up too. Um, when readers read The Silent Watcher and they get super excited, how can they get in touch with you? Should they just go to your website? Are you on social media? How can they get in
Yeah,
touch?
I'm mostly on X. I never really clicked on Instagram or Facebook or anything. I like X. I like Twitter too before it became X. So I just like that. I follow a lot of academics, intellectuals, ghost hunters, stuff like that. They're not super on Instagram, I've noticed. I don't know for you, but for me, Instagram's kind of become like OnlyFans Junior. You know, it's just a lot of it's just too much advertising to me. So I really like X. If people want to reach out to me on there, it's the best way. I respond like right away. Plus, I love talking to readers. I know there's some authors that don't like it and don't do stuff like that, but I feel like those guys are just people who have never been a fan of something. You know what I mean?
Right,
If you're a
right.
fan of something, you really want to meet someone and express how you feel about them. So I always talk and respond to everybody that reaches out to me.
I love that. And I always remind readers who listen to book lights that if you love a book, you gotta email the author or send a little direct message or whatever, just because we have down days where we're like, oh my God, I don't remember how to write a book. And then a reader note comes and you're like, okay, one more chapter.
Yeah.
So if they want another book, it can really help if they just reach out and go, oh my gosh, I love this character, this whatever, because sometimes we just need that little boost to get the
Oh
keyboard going.
yeah. No, I think to be an artist, you start off insanely insecure.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
even to do it and then to put it out there, and then especially if it's like personal, like you have some of yourself in there and people are like, oh, this is garbage. It like really hurts your soul. You're just like, oh,
Right, right.
those
Yeah.
little notes help. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes even edits that come across harsh from your editor, I give myself 24 hours of righteous indignation. They must have been skimming before I dive in and go, well, I guess this does make it a little
Yeah, I
bit
guess I
better.
have. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on with us today. This was so much fun. And everyone listening, go grab The Silent Watcher. There is a link in the show notes to Victor's website. So sign up for that newsletter and grab the book. And thank you again for coming on today. It was great meeting you.
Thank you. It was great meeting you, Lisa. Maybe we can go on a ghost hunting tour or something together.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Vegas ghost hunting. I'm there.
Oh, no, there really is a Vegas tour. I'll take you on it. I know all the ghost spots. The Flamingo, I'll take you all the places that people say they see ghosts.
Okay. I'm going to take you up on it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.